What's the most important thing that you can look at in your business? It's the numbers. Not very sexy, but it's the truth. Numbers don't lie. This is the Ask the BCE Show, episode number 24. I'm your host, Kurt Belding, and that is the Blue Collar Entrepreneur Show. I am the Blue Collar Entrepreneur. This week, I would like to talk about numbers. I know numbers are not the sexiest thing to talk about. It's not what most people are talking about in my realm or my industry of business and business, I guess motivation, a little bit, education. But it's probably the most important thing that should be talked about. Your numbers are everything. Your numbers, what your business numbers are, even like personal financial numbers, that's everything. That's like exactly what your business is and exactly where you're sitting personally, financially too. So I'll take my own experiences on this and I'll give you guys a couple of my experiences on how important numbers are. You know, when I first started opening businesses or running businesses, I didn't want to do a business plan. I didn't really care about profit and loss statements every month. My mindset was, I'm just going to work really hard, and you know, I knew what I wanted to do. As long as I bring in more money than comes out, I'm good. But the reality of it is like you don't really know whether or not you're bringing in more money than what's coming out if you're not looking at the profit and loss statements. If you're not analyzing the profit and loss statements, you don't even know where that money's going. How much money is going for advertising? How much money is going for payroll? How much money is going for legal expenses? Or every little variable makes a really big difference. Even if it's a couple $100s a month, but you have 6 or 7 of those little variables, makes a really big difference. And without understanding your business 100%, by looking at the numbers, you're not going to be successful. And that's how I was, you guys. I started a business. I didn't do business plans. I didn't look at profit and loss statements. And I didn't do very good in my first few years because I didn't understand my business. I didn't look at the numbers. I didn't look at the actual meat and potatoes of the business. And it took me a while to realize, wait, this is why a business plan is important. So as I understand all the variables of my business, and your business equals the numbers. It has to, what's the word I'm looking for? Quantify. That's the word I'm looking for. So whatever you do in your business, even if it's emotional, you need to measure it by some quantive data. It needs to quantify in some numeric data, if that makes sense. I'll give you another example. I'm a veteran now in business. I started Fit Republic Foods, and I still didn't look at the numbers. I still was doing stuff without watching numbers, and it hurt me. We're producing meals. I'll give you a specific example. We had a wing meal that was wings and asparagus, and I loved it. I ate it every time it came around. We produced it for a year. I was selling that product for less than what I was making it for. It was more expensive for me to make the product than not. Does that make sense, right, you guys? Like, we're literally selling, here's how this business works is my Fit Republic food company sells food to Fit Republics, which sell it to the retails. I was producing that wing meal at $6, selling it to my store for $5. And I did that for a year, and I didn't even understand and realize it. I think Facebook went out, but yeah, you can still see it. Maybe it's just reconnecting mine. Anyway, I didn't even realize it for a year that I was losing money by making that meal until I started losing a lot of money and started looking at the numbers. Well, I should have looked at the numbers from day one. Otherwise, then I wouldn't have lost all that money. So even now, after 20 years of doing business, at some point, I'm still not looking at the numbers, and the numbers won't lie. Numbers don't lie. Numbers tell the truth. And here's the hard part about it. Sometimes you don't want to see the truth. Like if your payroll is $15,000, but you're only profiting $14,500, you're going to lose money. There's no way around it. You're going to lose at least $500 a month right there. And that $500 over a year is going to be $5,000 or $7,000, whatever that calculates to. This will be a good amount of money. And if you don't choose to look at those numbers and act on those numbers, and you guys, I do it myself. Like I see the numbers. I'm like, oh, all right, we're losing a little bit of money here, but if I fix this and this, it should be fine. Well, if I don't execute fixing this and this, then I'm just gonna keep losing money. And I resort back to the same behaviors that I've done to lose that money because I'm comfortable with it. And emotionally, I don't wanna look at the losses. I don't wanna look at the massive change that I'm gonna have to make. It might be cutting employees. It might be cutting out a part of my business that I emotionally really like. But I've got to take the massive change unless I'm okay with losing money. And let's face it, guys, we're not in business to lose money, right? Like that's, definitely some good charity work if you want to own a business, help the community, whatever your business is doing, to lose money. Like that's not what we're doing. So anyway, let me wrap up the number spiel here. Is look at your numbers and look at your number often. Numbers don't lie, it's the truth. So when you're looking at your profit and loss statement, or if you're looking at your personal finances and those numbers look like you may be losing money, you're losing money. There is no way around it. And if you want to change it, you got to take massive action. You got to take big changes. So, all right. Do we have any questions that have come through?
You might want to mind this one.
I'm going to restart my live video on Facebook. Looks like it went kaput real quick. Sorry, guys. But if you have questions out there lives, I want to know them. What about your numbers? Have you looked at them? You have questions, Alex?
Yep.
I'll pay attention, man. You can stay.
First one, how do you not let numbers overwhelm you as far as goal profit?
How do you not let numbers overwhelm you as far as what?
As far as profit goals.
As far as looking at like profit goals? Is there a second part of that question?
As far as meeting goal goes, whether that be monthly, quarterly, etc. So trying to hit a profit goal.
Yeah, like the goals that you've set. And how do you not let those numbers overwhelm you? And they can, you guys. And we set goals, we set numbers, profit numbers, for something to reach and strive for. First off, let's talk about setting that number, that goal. If you need to break even at $10,000 a month and that's what your goal is, you're probably not going to do more than $10,000 a month. Your decision making from $0 to $10,000 is going to be to hit $10,000. And let's face it, the plans are not ever perfect. There's always going to be variables in there that don't go the way that you like them to go. So if you set the goal at 10,000 and that's your minimum goal of like break even, you're not going to do a whole lot there. Your decision making, right? Your decision making is for 10,000. Set that goal for 50,000, and now you work backwards from 50,000 because your decision making is going to be different. You may do bigger things, more impact things. You may not get stuck in the weeds doing little things that don't matter because you're trying to get 50,000. Well, again, that plan is not going to work perfectly, and you may end up at 35,000 instead of 50,000 for the month. But if you set that goal at 10,000, you're only going to be at 10,000, and you're going to be happy with it. You set it at 50,000, you can hit 35,000. Now you're what, $15,000? No, $25,000 more at a time. My math is awesome. I'm great at math. Anyway, so that's setting the goal, and to not let it overwhelm you. If you're not on pace to hit the goal, change the plan. It doesn't have to be a big, stressful, overwhelming thing. Just keep changing the plan. If it's not working, change it. If you're failing to hit goals and you let that fear of not being able to hit the goal paralyze you, then you don't do anything. You're paralyzed. So set the goal, analyze your plan, analyze the goal, analyze your progress, look at the numbers, and if you're not on pace to hit it, take massive action and change it. Pretty quick, pretty simple. I mean, it's easier said than done, but that's the truth of it. Did I answer that question? Yep. Cool.
Next one. Are there negatives of always looking at numbers in your business?
Are there negatives of always looking at numbers in your business? Man, I think the only negative that comes out of that is you may understand the reality of it. If you don't want to know the reality of your business, don't look at numbers. If you want to stay in a clouded state of mind or a delusional state of mind of your business is doing great and everything's hunky-dory, don't look at the numbers. Or maybe you're in a negative state of mind where you don't think your business is doing very well, and you look at your numbers and you realize your business is doing better than what you thought your business was going to do. So I don't think there's anything negative about always looking at numbers of your business. You just have to understand they're numbers. They're not every variable in your business make up that number. And there might be some variables in that business out of your control that produce that number, and not to get too discouraged about it. Like the other day, when we had a blizzard, we had to shut down the store, right? And now some of our managers were like, oh my God, we may not hit our goal numbers, but nothing we can do about that. You can't focus on that. You can't dwell on that negative. And the numbers bounce back. That's something that affected the numbers and you had no control over. So, yeah. What else we got?
Can't find you on live on my feed. I don't know if you can see.
I don't know. I don't think I'm even live on Facebook.
Okay.
But says I am. Oh, it says go live. Shit, I didn't click go live. Any questions out there? Instagram lives? Now's the time. You guys got any more?
Nope.
Yeah. Do you guys set personal goals and numbers? Look at numbers financially? I know you do, Alex, so we've been over them with financial planning.
Starting to.
You're going to start to, huh?
Yeah.
Because what's one of the biggest negatives about not looking at the numbers, not setting the goal? It's like drifting out in the ocean in a boat without a map to get to where you're going. You're going to be lost, and you're not going to end up getting what you want to get, right? So numbers is just your roadmap. All right, this is the number that I need to be at. Here's the steps to get there. Here's the numbers that I need to go. And, if you're not hitting those numbers, change your roadmap. Pretty simple, pretty easy. But numbers are important. Numbers never lie. It's always the truth. So unless we have any other questions, I'm going to call the BCE Show episode number 24. All right. That is the Ask the BCE Show episode number 24 on numbers. Not very sexy, but super important. If you like this content, subscribe to my YouTube channels where I house everything. Ring the bell so you get the notifications. And you guys do me a favor, this is all free information. The biggest thing that you can do to help me out a little bit, if you like this information, you like this content, tell someone about it. I go live every Wednesday, or try to. Last week we didn't do it because we had a blizzard. But we go live every Wednesday, and then I house all these videos on YouTube. 100% free content, and hopefully it helps if you're owning business, starting business, or just in life in general. Thanks, guys.